The Genesis Communications Network is sponsored by the U.S. Money Reserve, your exclusive source for gold and silver precious metals. Visit them online at usmoneyreserve.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. Right. Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. Right. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday morning, April 16th, tax weekend for many of you, with filings due no later than Monday. They had an extension this year to the 18th. And, generally there's an adage that, when tax time comes up, the markets tend to stall or pull back a little bit. But that really didn't happen so much this month, as the Dow continued to push higher along with the S&P and the other major indexes. And we are, as I've mentioned, in that critical time frame, but we'll talk about that in a moment. You may recognize me as one of the former elves on the Louis Rukeyser Wall Street television program for new listeners from the 1990s, and many of you watched the PBS program Nightly Business Report for many years. I was a market monitor guest with Paul Kangas during that time. Authored the book, The Trader's Book of Volume, and I encourage you to check that out because you'll learn more about the way I approach the market using technical indicators. And my website is vrtrader.com. That's vrtrader.com, where you can learn about a whole host of our newsletters and products and commentary and so forth. For those of you who travel around a bit, I will be at the Money Show in Las Vegas on May 9th for 3 days. We're hosting a booth there and doing a couple of workshops. Recently, I did the Money Show in Orlando and the Traders Expo in New York, so getting about a little bit here. But it's always nice to meet some of our listeners and subscribers. So if you're planning to go to Vegas or in that area, that would be when it's going to happen. Meanwhile, backing up to the markets, we're in the what I call the sell may go away period, and I didn't invent that term, as you know, but the market in recent years has tended to top out in the April period and a little early. Sometimes it's a significant top, sometimes it's minor or sideways. Maybe this year will be a bit different. But it's a time that I don't think you should be chasing stocks. And we had a nice little technical bounce this past week in crude oil, got everybody excited. Personally, I think that's just a bear bounce in the crude oil market as well. And not to say the crude oil market has to go with the stock market. Sometimes they track together, sometimes they don't. It's like with the gold market. You can't always bet on an inverse or direct relationship. You have to evaluate each market separately. But the crude oil market, to me, has a shot of going right back to the lows, if not lower lows here in the weeks and months ahead. So a little cautious there, I think. And there were some interesting developments this past week. There was sort of this, normal prearranged meeting between Barack Obama and Janet Yellen this past Monday discussing the state of the economy. But some of the underground press and people who do their homework in this area say something more significant was going on. You had all the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors meeting in Washington all week, so something was afoot. The rumors are that martial law discussions over a banking system failure were the reasons that Obama met, and Biden also met with Fed Chairman Janet Yellen during that clandestine meeting, at least the meetings that we had not heard about. So there's something going on. The markets are telling us we may be a little bit of a top. We know world debt is at record levels. We know we got negative interest rates in Sweden, Japan, Europe. Rumors that it could happen here. In fact, more than rumors, the Federal Reserve put out a bulletin a 3 weeks ago suggesting banks should take necessary precautions just in case that has to be initiated or rates nosedive to that level. Nobody knows what the result would be. So far, it really hasn't helped Europe or Japan, but it would tell you as an investor or as a depositor that you'd have to pay to keep your money in the banks. And, that doesn't tell you things are doing all that well. I mean, it's clear we've got world problems. We know the markets are rigged. We talked last week with Bill Murphy at GATA, who, obviously has been following the manipulation in the gold market for many, many years. And we know from our discussions with Sinclair that's on our Eat the Bankers segment that this has been going on for decades. So, I guess the investing public, as long as stocks are up and they have a job and we don't see any revolution in the streets, they don't care that the markets are rigged. But if the markets collapse and they start losing jobs and there's more turmoil, then I guess the government intervention would be more of an issue for them. When I say rigging, we're talking about interest rates are rigged. We know that. Stock market is rigged. We've got zero interest rates or maybe negatives, which forces money into the stock market. But we also have the Working Group of Financial Markets, which was created by Ronald Reagan in 1988. It was an executive order. And then I guess the more common term for it is the Plunge Protection Team. And the Plunge Protection Team is out there acting accordingly. So, between the zero interest rates and the Plunge Protection Team, and we've got all kinds of funny business going on, and we have too much government interference worldwide. And, it's rationalized that they have to come in and support the market and print money like crazy. And, maybe the Dow's going to go to 40,000 and they're going to continue to print. But at some point, the bubble will burst. You have to be nimble. And that's one of the reasons why I advise not only being in the stock market. This is Wall Street Raw, but it covers just about every investment vehicle. And we could be talking about physical real estate, gold and silver, farmland, even cash. Keeping a nice store of cash makes sense. What if the ATMs go down and suddenly you can't get cash if you need it, or the banking system does have a bit of a crisis and your credit cards aren't working? All kinds of interesting things that you have to sort of think about. If you want to prepare for them as we do, that's your decision. But there are issues out there and things could change. And we also have the upcoming election and a political convention, and there has been, a lot of rumors or talk about possible violence. We know this is a violent country, and we know that there's risk of, tempers flying and things getting out of hand. And if the wrong candidate is elected, depending on your political persuasion, who knows what could happen on the streets. We already see what's happening out there now with the anti-Trump movement and so forth, and Black Lives Matter, many of which are being supported by left-wing groups. And the big name George Soros comes to mind, who's behind a lot of this activity. So there's a lot of nasty things going on out there, and you got to prepare, and that's what we're really saying here in a nutshell. We have our normal special guest, Sinclair, with us. Sinclair, always looking to have Sinclair on the show. He'll be with us momentarily after the commercial break. I also have two other special guests with us today. We have Troy Dayton from ArcView, and ArcView is the company or entity that has been involved in the marijuana cannabis space, where they put investors together, with companies looking to raise money. And we do have the Vice Letter, which is one of my products, where we do trade and talk about many of the emerging cannabis marijuana stocks. Whether you believe in them or not, they're out there and they're in the market and they're worth trading. And this is an emerging, growing group, and there's money to be made whether you're in the market with them or you own a dispensary or you're affiliated in some way with that growing industry. So it's a growing industry worldwide. And we're jumping on board and playing some of the stocks. In fact, one of our trades, GW Pharmaceutical, I think it was a week before last, we were long. I think it was in the 30s, opened up 50 points, and we took a profit in it. That's GWPH, which is one of the big names out there. And we also have Lenny Roth joining us on segment 4 as well. We'll talk about that in a moment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back. stove is at the top of the list for any serious survivalist. That's why you have to see the full range at emberlit.com. Simple, elegant, but extraordinarily efficient. Available in titanium or stainless steel, the Emberlit line of stoves are ultralight, pack flat, and work great. Fueled only by sticks and debris. From emergency situations to long-term survival, Emberlit stoves are up to the task. Emberlit, the most convenient, easy-to-carry wood stoves on the planet. See them all at emberlit.com.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com. Or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Hello, I'm Michael Reagan. My father, President Ronald Reagan, believed so strongly in gold that in 1985, he changed gold ownership forever. Today, our national debt is spiraling out of control, but gold coins could be the answer. Call 1-866-525-GOLD or go online to usmoneyreserve.com to get new, never-before-released information about gold. From the U.S. Money Reserve, call 1-866-525-GOLD.
Think big. Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw radio show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome back, my great friend and great guest, Sinclair No, to Wall Street Raw this Saturday morning. I'd like to make a quick announcement that Sinclair and I will be both on KFNN Radio, 1510 Phoenix, so welcoming KFNN to our network of stations, joining Wall Street Raw on the Genesis Network. So, Sinclair, thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to having you on the show this weekend.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mark.
Sinclair, really briefly here, we did this on our first show probably a year ago. Tell me a little bit in a few seconds about the Eat the Bankers book and the website. What got you into that, and what the focus of Eat the Bankers is all about?
Well, as 2008 started to collapse in the markets, I had been following it closely and realized what a meltdown we were seeing, and I felt I just had to write about it. And I did, and my emphasis was on banking and the role of the banks in that meltdown. So the idea was Eat the Bankers, and my idea behind Eat the Bankers was that the banks should be cut into smaller pieces, digestible pieces, so that if we did have to go through another issue like 2008, we would be able to survive rather than have to deal with the bailouts that we went through. And I followed that up with a website, eatthebankers.com, and I post my daily blog there, along with some audio and interviews and a few other things.
Mm-hmm. It's a great column.
Thank you.
I read it every day, and
I still attack the bankers.
Right. Well, they're our favorite group, and they can't seem to get themselves out of trouble. It keeps them in trouble. They can't seem to get themselves out of it because they're always jumping into other puddles. But we just noticed this past week that Deutsche Bank had agreed to settle lawsuits accusing it of conspiring with other banks to manipulate gold and silver. Now, could that actually be possible? They could be doing something naughty like that?
Shocked, I tell you, that the banks would be manipulating the price of precious metals.
Or anything.
Or actually that they're doing it with everything. That's what we're really finding out. But there was a suit out of New York, and several of the banks that are involved in setting the daily prices for gold and silver and palladium and platinum as well. It's the daily fix, and there's a morning and an afternoon fixed price. Deutsche Bank is one of them, I believe. Bank of Nova Scotia, HSBC, a couple of others are involved as well. Well, the suit comes up, and what was really shocking is that Deutsche Bank just said, yeah, okay, we'll cooperate. We'll be turning over information on the other banks. We admit that there is something wrong here. Clearly, they're looking for a deal, and being the first one to roll over, if you will put them in an advantageous position, because I think they had to know there really was no defense. We've been talking about it for years and years, how the precious metals prices, they just had to be fixed.
We were just discussing on the show last week with Bill Murphy from GATA.
Exactly. GATA's been talking about this forever. And as it turns out, it's probably quite true. This whole thing has been rigged for years.
Right, but there's no real publicity for it. We pick these stories out, but you don't hear it on the major news channels and discussion at all. It's amazing.
It's a massive fraud that's been undertaken against investors over the years. And of course, it's not just the gold and silver fix. We've been learning this about LIBOR rates, the London Interbank Offer rates. We've learned it about the ISD fix, which is derivatives. We've learned it about commodities markets. We've learned it about, of course, we know mortgages were all fixed back in 2008. A lot of these things, interest rates, Forex markets, the foreign exchange currency markets, precious metals markets, it's all been fixed. It's all been rigged and manipulated.
And Wall Street goes along with it because it serves their purpose. Stocks up, gold down. The public, I suppose, doesn't care so long as the stock market is up. If the stock market was at 3,000 and not 18,000, they might be more upset.
Right.
So nobody really discusses it, and they say, so what? They just assume politicians are crooked. Everything is crooked out there, manipulated. In fact, the current political environment talks about how the rich benefit and the poor don't. So there's really no discussion about it, and they figure it's rigged, so what?
Well, that seems to have been the case. And it's all fine until something blows up.
Right.
Like it did in 2008, for example. Then everybody starts to get a little bit queasy, and we realize, oh, yeah, look at this. The bankers were behind that, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, they were, and it's been standard operating procedure for quite some time now.
It's something we just have to deal with, but, we have to trade what's in front of us and invest what's in front of us, and worrying about what the government's doing or not doing, unless we see it in our numbers, we just have to assume it's a given. Sinclair, we also saw Wells Fargo settle for some shoddy mortgage practices this past week, speaking of our banker friends.
Yeah, Wells Fargo, that was actually the smaller of the two settlements. Goldman Sachs came in with a $5 billion settlement. The Wells, I think, was about $1.5 billion. I forget the exact figure.
Mm-hmm.
But this goes back and really kind of wraps up the last of the RMBS fraud cases against the major banks from the collapse of 2008. I think they're trying to collect a little bit more on fines if they can before the statute of limitations runs out. And it looks like the statute of limitations will run out without any of the major bankers having been indicted or charged for any crimes. So you have billions of dollars worth of fines. You have admissions, in many cases, of wrongdoing. And yet nobody is criminally responsible for any of it.
Sinclair, thank you for joining.
And by the way, part of that fine that they're paying is going to be tax deductible.
Sinclair, thank you again for joining us. The master of EatTheBankers.com, financial commentator, 1510 Phoenix, KFNN. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you again, Sinclair, and we'll have you back next week. And as I mentioned in the previous segment, we do have another couple special guests with us coming up, Troy Dayton and Lenny Roth. We'll have Lenny Roth up on hopefully the next segment, and he's with a crowdfunding company, Our Crowd, which is a very interesting area, so we wanted to have him. I met him in Las Vegas at a convention last week, and Harvard graduate and very interesting fellow, so we're going to talk about crowdfunding. And Troy Dayton, as I mentioned, will be with us. He's with ArcView, and that's a growing area with the investment in cannabis, and I had him on the show last year. Met him a couple times. Fascinating area. Some of you may want to check out and attend one of their conventions and see if that fits your investment scheme. We do have, as I mentioned previously, the Vice letter, so we talk about this all the time. Really excited about the opportunities in Vice and cannabis. Seems to do well when the markets are doing poorly, too, so got to keep an eye on that. Talk to you. Stay tuned, and we'll be back in a moment.
Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. At WallStreetRaw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market crash, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of the Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free weekly Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free Gold News Raw report. You will receive both weekly, and both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at WallStreetRaw.com. That's WallStreetRaw.com.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 pain hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest price filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Biochemistry determines your mood, memory, energy, and endurance. Your body's primary metabolic function is to make protein. One World Whey is a unique, non-denatured protein. This enables your body to have virtually 100% utilization, whereas typical whey protein powders offer no more than 18% utilization of protein. One World Whey also delivers life-giving frequencies to your cells. The net result for so many people is improved energy, mood, and elimination of pain from inflammation.
This technologically enhanced One World Whey has been really amazing for me. I'm 36 years old, and for the past several years, I've been struggling with lack of energy, drive, and stamina. And after just 2 weeks on this product, I'm feeling so much more energy. My yoga practice has deepened, and as a massage therapist, I'm able to see more clients than I've been able to in years. I've never felt results that quick with anything I've ever taken.
Call 888-988-3325 or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworld, WHEY.com.
Bad news, Americans. You're probably stockpiling for a disaster all wrong. When the big one comes, you'll need more than that poisonous, oversalted survival food you now see everywhere. There are 3 vital things that your survival food is missing, and it's the first thing to disappear from grocery stores. Go to superfoodradio.com now to see my story of how I nearly died when I was forced to live on a popular survival food. That's superfoodradio.com, and I'll show you how everything you've been told about survival food is dead wrong. Go to superfoodradio.com now.
Anything that is thy neighbor.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com.
To introduce a very special guest this Saturday morning on Wall Street Raw, Lenny Roth, who's a partner at Our Crowd. That's O-U-R Crowd, C-R-O-W-D, which is a global crowdfunding platform based in Jerusalem, Israel. Lenny is also co-founder of Yarrowtech, a Miami-based solar energy enterprise with nearly 200 megawatts in existing generation and additional 60 megawatts under construction, primarily in Puerto Rico. But the focus here, Lenny, good morning, is to talk about Our Crowd, which is really an innovative platform, and it really is the trend of Wall Street and the financing industry in recent years.
I think that's right, Mark, and thank you for that kind introduction and an opportunity to share some thoughts with your listeners this morning. Crowdfunding is increasingly getting attention in multiple respects. I think that most folks still think about it as a gimmick. You know, some very qualified and admirable companies like Kickstarter and Indiegogo have enabled people to look at some things that they can contribute dollars to and maybe get a T-shirt or the right to the product. But increasingly, people are looking at crowdfunding as a vehicle through which they can dedicate more meaningful components of their real assets and invest in equity in companies, private companies, that heretofore were not accessible to them.
And it offers diversification, too. I went to your website, and I noticed that the way this is structured, an investor would come in with X dollars, and then I think the minimum was $100,000, if I'm not correct, and then that money is allocated among various companies that you're raising money for at the discretion of the investor.
You're absolutely correct. $100,000 is the minimum for what we call the portfolio reserve, whereby in one investment you can be diversified into as many as 20 private companies that are essentially doing transformational, innovative things. So people can apply a lot more. The minimum investment, if you're just going to cherry pick, and this is probably a good opportunity to talk about the different ways in which one can invest through our crowd, and then talk about how this democratizes investment in general. Our crowd enables accredited investors, and there are different criteria depending on the jurisdiction. The United States has its specific conditions to invest a minimum of $10,000 in each company, and then they can build their portfolio depending on their interests. And we have launched companies in cybersecurity and enterprise software, Internet of Things. Medical devices have been very big for us. If you want the diversification built in, then there is that $100,000 minimum, and then you're able to really build out your own tailored portfolio. In general, why this democratizes the investment process is because if you look historically at how investors are able to access private companies, it was either as an angel, whereby you have an opportunity to put some money in your neighbor's company or your cousin's company or your own company, but it's very difficult for most people to assess the intellectual property in a company or be able to tell whether other competitors are doing something similar or more innovative. Funds do that, but funds usually have very high minimums, certainly the good funds that you'd want to be invested in, and you have absolutely no discretion in terms of what you're actually getting. So what we've been able to introduce is an opportunity for investors to enjoy a little bit of the best of both. They get to select their own portfolio, diversify within that portfolio, and also be able to piggyback off a very strong due diligence team that, in our crowd's case, over the past 3 years, has made investments in just under 100 companies, but after reviewing over 4,000 opportunities.
You've had quite a bit of success. Can we talk briefly in a couple of minutes we have left of a couple of your success stories, the kind of companies that you did raise money for and how they're doing?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, we've invested in just under 100 companies. We've already had 6 exits. We actually enjoyed our 6th one yesterday. 2 IPOs, including ReWalk, which is the exoskeleton that enables paraplegics to walk. They're publicly traded on NASDAQ. And other companies, we had a Replay, a 3D 360-degree camera that some of your listeners might remember from the All-Star Game or the Super Bowl, that frame-by-frame, multiple-angle way of reviewing plays that Intel purchased a couple of years ago. And there was just another exit. Oracle had bought another one of our portfolio companies just this week, and we're proud of that. We're proud that some of the leading multinationals and some of the most important industries are looking at portfolio companies that we've been able to incubate in some cases or shepherd in other cases, and enable these enterprises and these technologies to take it to the next level.
So if our listeners want to get in touch with our crowd, what's the best way of doing it?
Well, the best way is to really get onto the platform, register. If they're accredited investors, then they'll have access to the deal flow. But I believe that our platform is very user friendly. And as you mentioned, it's www.ourcrowd.com. And really participate in what is increasingly going to be a very fun and ideally profitable way to learn about private companies and enjoy what I believe will be continued value accretion as more and more of these companies are growing while they're still private, and in many cases being acquired before the public market ever has an opportunity to invest in them.
Lenny, I want to thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have a very short window on our show, but it's been a pleasure talking to Lenny Roth, who's a partner of Our Crowd, that global crowdfunding platform based in Jerusalem, and we'll hope to have you back real soon and perhaps update our listeners on some of the other great successes at Our Crowd. And thank you for joining us. And again, ourcrowd.com is where you go for more information. Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you again, Lenny, for being with us on the Saturday morning. We pre-taped that interview yesterday, so we're pretty much staying in sync here as best we can. I'd like to go over in just about a minute we have before the break, if we have time, to look at some of the big point movers in the market. We try to cover this every week if we can. The big point mover this week was Berkshire Hathaway, up 3,400 points. If you're interested in a stock that's $215,000 a share. Then you had China Housing, that's CHLN, that was up 1,640 points. That was a nice move. Priceline, that was PCLN, that was up 57.75 points. Amazon was up 31 points this week. That's AMZN. BlackRock, that's BLK, was up 26 points this past week. Not too shabby. Credit Corp, that's BAP, that was up 19.90 this past week. And the old Google, which we now call Alphabet, GOOG, was up 19.85 points this week. So we had some nice movers on the upside. The downside, the biggest losers I see here pretty much in the crude oil, the inverse crude oil space. As crude oil went up, some of the inverse ETFs dropped. So not a lot of action there. I noticed Seagate Technology was down 7.5 points, SSTX, and we had Super Microcomputers down about 7 points. But it was pretty much an up week for the market, so we didn't have much to the downside there to talk about. We're going to talk more about cannabis stocks in just a moment with our good friend from ArcView. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week Elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market tsunami, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free Vice News Raw report. You will receive it weekly, and it is totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw report at WallStreetRaw.com. That's WallStreetRaw.com for your free weekly report from Mark Leibovit and WallStreetRaw.com.
Normal blood pressure, naturally. How would that make you feel?
I'm Don from New Mexico. January of 2000, I had a heart attack. Then my real health began going downhill. I had high blood pressure, diabetes, poor vision. I wasn't sleeping well. I was a mess.
Don reports dramatic improvements with Heart and Body Extract.
I started taking Heart and Body Extract. From within a few days, I started sleeping better. My blood pressure normalized. My diabetes normalized. My sleep improved.
Experience these benefits and more when your body heals itself with the assistance of Heart and Body Extract. Order at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305. That's hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305.
And folks, I did not expect this at all. By the 7th, 8th, and 9th day, I saw dramatic improvements from taking Heart and Body Extract.
Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or 800-544-3533.
Hello, I'm Michael Reagan. My father, President Ronald Reagan, believes so strongly in gold that he changed gold ownership forever by bringing back physical gold to the American public, allowing gold coins to be minted and sold to U.S. citizens just like you, starting in 1985. Gold ownership can help protect your financial future, especially when our national debt is spiraling out of control. Many smart Americans have kept their retirements from being wiped out during America's financial crisis thanks to physical gold coins. I strongly urge you to call the U.S. Money Reserve at 1-866-944-GOLD or go online to usmoneyreserve.com. Ask for a special gold guide with new, never-before-released information about gold from the U.S. Money Reserve. Call 1-866-944-GOLD or go online to usmoneyreserve.com. I'm Michael Reagan. Thank you.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
It's my pleasure to invite back a very special guest on Wall Street Raw this Saturday morning, an old friend, Troy Dayton from ArcView, and we had him on the show last year, and I wish I had him on more often because of all the action that's now unfolding across the country in the cannabis marijuana space. Troy co-founded this firm, the ArcView Group, in 2000, and he serves as the CEO, and ArcView created the ArcView Investor Network, where more than 500 high net worth investors have pumped more than $70 million into 108 cannabis-related ventures and has raised more than $850,000 for the legalization effort. ArcView also publishes the State of Legal Marijuana Markets, the most off-cited market data and analysis report in the industry. Again, pleasure having you back, Troy. Tell us what's going on now. There's so much talk. Initially, I like to cover the rumors that are being bandied about that the DEA might actually have some policy change. That's the Drug Enforcement Administration come this July regarding the Schedule I marijuana.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Mark. Yeah, that's one of the big things that people are talking about is this possible rescheduling. It's interesting, certainly if the DEA reschedules either to Schedule 2 or Schedule 3, then that would certainly increase the enthusiasm for the cannabis industry and for this issue in general. So I think it would be very powerful symbolically from that standpoint. And we could probably see a huge spike in interest in the sector. That being said, scheduling doesn't change as much as most people think. It actually doesn't really change many state laws. It doesn't really change most of the penalties that are associated with cannabis. And also it could be used to take away political will to pass more state medical or adult use legalization laws. On the flip side, it could give access through pharmacies and through doctors to this medicine in states that don't currently have medical cannabis laws. So it's kind of got two sides to it.
Yeah, it sounds like the second that the DEA made this change, the whole landscape changes, where those who were afraid to invest, figuring they were going to get federal raids or other sanctions, would suddenly want to jump into the investment space where before they were holding back. I know of investors who've stated that. Do you think that still could happen, that it would just create a greater investment and interest and environment because of that?
I think that could be the impact, but that would be people acting erroneously, because changing cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2 will not make investments in state-level cannabis businesses legal. It won't do that. They will be just as illegal if it's rescheduled as it is currently, and that's the big misconception.
So what would have to happen so that it's legal, as you say? What steps would need to be taken by the?
For it to be fully legal to run a business that touches cannabis at the state level, like we have with dispensaries and licensed cultivations, federal law would actually need to change. Congress would need to pass a law that says that the law of the land is that there is no longer federal marijuana prohibition. That would have to be what would change, and would have to change for that to be the case. And then also the states would have to change it, right? So the states for which it's legal, if the federal government was to say, hey, it's legal, and states can decide what they want, then the states that it's legal, it'll be legal. The ones that aren't would not be. Actually, Bernie Sanders actually has a bill. Rand Paul as well, I think, is behind it, which would essentially let states decide what they want to do on cannabis policy.
Really amazing. It's a very complicated issue, and I know a lot of people have been talking about it. So let's move on a little bit. We have a couple of minutes left here. Let's talk about ArcView and some of the upcoming conferences and things that you guys are doing.
Yeah, so, as I mentioned, we have about 500 high net worth accredited investors that all pay kind of an annual membership fee to be part of the group. And then we hear from about 36 companies every week that are looking to present to our investor membership. And then we host a weekly webinar with a subset of those investors that come on and help to further vet the companies. And then 5 times a year we have a big event where we have about 200-300 investors, and we have a nice big stage, and we prep the companies, we pair them up with mentors, and then they present. And everybody makes their own business decisions and investment decisions. But it's a highly curated group, and over $70 million has gone to over 108 companies in the space since we began. And our next big event is going to be in Portland, May 1st through 3rd. And Portland's a great city because it's, the latest adult use state to come online. And then after that, we're in Oakland, June 18th through 20th. And our partner accelerator, Canopy, which kind of works with small companies that aren't quite fully baked yet, works with them for about 4 months, and then they do a demo day, and that demo day is going to happen on June 18th. So there's a lot, you guys seem to focus a little more on the public side of this. We tend to focus a little more on the private side, although some of the companies that have started out on the private side have later become public, obviously. So it does relate on the public end as well.
Yeah, there was one big success, Massroots, MSRT. That was your big success, correct?
Yeah. They raised their very first capital out of ArcView, and most of their subsequent capital prior to going public came from ArcView members, and that's proving to be quite a windfall for those early people.
So, if our listeners want to get in touch with you, Troy, or ArcView, what's the best way to do it?
ArcViewGroup.com, and if you want to check out really get a deep dive into this industry and a whole snapshot of how this all works at the state and federal level and where the market's heading, our new market report, the 4th edition of the State of Legal Marijuana Markets, you can also download the executive summary at our website. And if you really want to get a deep dive, you can actually purchase the full report.
Thank you, Troy, for joining us. We've been talking to Troy Dayton from ArcView Group, and we hope to have you back real soon. This is a burgeoning and exciting area, and I'm very involved in it in terms of my newsletter commentary, and I want to stay in touch with Troy. So thank you so much, and we'll have you back real soon.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you again, Troy. Yeah, so much going on in the space. For example, the U.S. government just admitted, well, not just recently talked about how cannabis does help kill cancer cells. In fact, the National Cancer Institute, part of the U.S. Department of Health, now advises that cannabinoids, that CBDs, that's the part of the marijuana plant or hemp plant that doesn't have the THC in it, which makes you high, but they say it may be useful in treating the side effects of cancer and cancer treatment by smoking, eating it, or baked products, drinking herbal teas, or even spraying it under the tongue. The site at the National Cancer Institute also lists other uses, including anti-inflammatory activity, blocking cell growth, preventing the growth of blood vessels that supply tumors, antiviral activity, and relieving muscle spasms caused by multiple sclerosis. Also interesting, in the last couple of weeks, we noticed Philip Morris gave the green light on cannabis investment. We've been speculating for a long time that the big players like Philip Morris may get into the business, and they announced they're making an investment in an Israeli company in the high-tech area. It's called SYQE Medical. Didn't generate much attention in the news, perhaps because the announcement was made during a massive blizzard in the Northeast recently, but basically the fact that Philip Morris is making this announcement is a bit of a game changer. So, interesting area, and we hope to have Troy back real soon. Again, thanks to Sinclair No for joining us today, along with Lenny Roth, and of course you can get all my information at vrtrader.com, and as we do each week at this time, I like to reflect back to my good friend Ed Hart from the old Financial News Network, who said, "We will know in the fullness of time." Speak to you next week. Mark Leibovit, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Elf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to WallStreetRawRadio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. At WallStreetRaw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market crash, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of the Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free weekly Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free Gold News Raw report. You will receive both weekly, and both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at WallStreetRaw.com. That's WallStreetRaw.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.